Heads up, everyone.
Right after World War II. Are we, I haven't seen this many cameras since A-Rod was here. Or maybe J-Lo, actually, that moment. Well, first, let me welcome Governor Paterson to City Hall and to New York City. You live here in the city, I'm told. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, when I was up in Albany, I was with the governor, and I was asked what I thought of Albany, and I pointed out that in his press room he had an American flag and a state flag, and I said what you should have is a New York City flag as well. So I have here to present you with a real New York City flag, which you can display up in Albany.
One second note, I actually live in the executive mansion.
And
I
you
will-
the first.
I will take this along. Yeah, we'll get to that.
Seriously, I wanted to welcome the governor. We had a very productive talk, I thought, with our respective staffs about the major issues that we're going to have to deal with. We both have budgets that are going to be problematic. Tax revenues are falling with the economy. Expenses always go up in periods, or demands for services go up in tough periods when we can least afford it. And I think I have an enormous amount of confidence that the governor will work with the legislature and come up with something that will be fair and balanced. It won't give the city everything that it wants, but it will give us a lot, I hope. Thank you. And the city budget will come out the same ways. The state's trying to do a budget by the end of this month, and we will do a budget by the end of June. We did talk about the other major issues, and we'll be happy to take some questions. And if you would identify yourself for the governor, your name and what news organization you represent, sir.
Mr. Mayor, Art McFarland, WABC TV. On the question of budgets for schools, there's an event, in fact, this afternoon with teachers and principals and others saying that they don't want the New York City school budget to be cut.
I agree with
that. So there's the question also of state aid to New York City being delayed that you were going to use to build more schools. Could you gentlemen address those school budget issues?
Well, I would just say that we have a budget process where we did make some cuts on the state level, $800 million and 2% through the agencies. This because of the economic news this year. The market's down again today. Question is where our economy actually stands. Nobody likes cuts. I totally understand that, and I'm not saying that they're going to have to be cuts, but I think what I am saying is the world that the teachers, the schools in New York City knew has changed.
Let me add that even with the cuts in the budget for the city agencies that I have said we will take, which include all agencies, because if we have some agency that could take the cuts and the others can't, I don't know why we have that agency. Everything that the city does is important, and we can't sit here and say one thing's more important than another. Everybody's going to share the pain in the same sense that everybody shares the rewards. But even with those, in the case of education, because we are cutting against a budget, the total monies going to education will still go up. They might not go up as much as they would have gone up, but as the governor said, we live in a very different world today than we lived in 6 months ago.
And if I could just add to that, after the cost of board cut, when we went in to try to find more money just a few days ago, we were very careful about health, education, and human services. So we would feel the same way about the city as we would in those areas upstate. But I just wanted to point out that you can't talk about how bad the economy is and then say, oh, by the way, we don't want to get cut anywhere.
Yes, sir, in the back there.
Jacob Bershon from the New York Sun. Governor, have you given any more consideration to the Assembly tax plan? Speaker of the Assembly says that you won't be able to close the gap without it. Do you agree with him?
I think that we should be thinking at this time about how we got our economy in the place that it is. So I think that the foremost area that we would want to address is to tighten our belts, not to drive up taxes for a constituency that has been, I would say, just battered over the past number of years. And when you compare it to the other states, I don't think that this is where we should be going. I'm not going to rule it out only because I don't know how far this is going. But right now, as it stands, if it leveled off where we are now, I think we can cut without raising taxes. I'm very sure of that.
Yes, sir.
Josh Robin from New York One. Governor, have you come to any decision about congestion pricing? Can you say a little bit about the argument that the mayor made to you upstairs?
I didn't put him up to this. You're on your own. I'll stand off to the side. Let me know when you're done.
The mayor, I was surprised, is very compassionate about congestion pricing. He really seems to have a thing for congestion pricing. But maybe he has a thing because at the same time that we've got these problems, this is a revenue stream that if we don't make a decision on it by April 7th now, the mayor has got us an extra week now. But if we don't make that decision, that's a consistent revenue stream we lose. Now, is congestion pricing even with $354 million? Is that a good idea? Can it actually be implemented? The mayor honestly made a very persuasive argument. I'm going to take it back, review it myself. Wanted to hear his side of it. Talking to the leaders in Albany. This is something that we are reviewing, and we'll see what we can do. We don't have much time to make a decision, so you won't have to wait long.